Who will you miss most from the show?
Who will I miss the most?
Me.
All of you.
Ah.
Oh, what?
You first.
What? Who will I miss the most?
Yeah.
Jamie. No. Jamie.
She knows I just sold another show last week, and so she's.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's an impossible. There's so.
The craft services guy. You told me.
He's the best.
He's hot.
We really all like each other, and it's such an odd. Sometimes, there's problems. So, it's really everyone. I know that's such a boring answer, but we all love each other. But it's me.
But it's
for
you.
You, right?
It's
I mean, for you, it's me, but
it's Sally.
Everyone,
and Matt.
Yeah, that's it.
So when did you guys first realize this show had become as popular as it now is, and was then when you first started working on it?
For me, it was the first Comic-Con.
Yeah.
We did the San Diego Comic-Con, and I had never been down before. And, obviously that's a larger venue. And, like this last convention we had turned away people from a 5,000-seat room. But the first one, we turned people away from about a 2,500-seat room. And so, you're kind of brought in through these backdoor Byzantine corridors with a phalanx of security around you, and you're trying to figure out who are they actually there for. And it just feels very strange because you don't know yet. It hasn't been seen by the world yet, or you're not. It's sort of it's a very surreal idea that there are millions of people who might watch something that we get to make for you. And when we walked out and the lights hit and they opened up the curtains and all those flash bulbs started going off, I said, "Oh my God! I think we might actually have a show that."
Yeah, I'm like, we may be back next
year. We might
year.
be back for another season. That would be great.
And as you said, this is the last season of Eureka, but we have a Christmas special coming up. Now, originally, I recall that the show was supposed to be an animated one. You had when you first had the idea. The Christmas special, I understand, is animated. What was that like to see Eureka animated? And what was it like for Sally and for Matt, if we don't know if you're in it or not, but what was it like to do the voices for the animated one?
What was it like doing the voices for the animated episode?
What's it like doing the animated?
Yeah. You've seen it?
It was great. Doing animation is kind of fun, obviously, because you don't have to get into makeup and wardrobe for a start. But for this particular one, it was a real blast because this particular episode has so many different types of animation. I mean, I remember saying to Jamie, I was reading the script and I was going, "Oh my God, they've got everything except Japanese anime." And then I turned the page and Japanese anime. So they basically covered everything.
Wow.
And it was great working on it because they had preliminary sketches, so you knew it had to be bigger than life anyway. I mean, in terms of what you were going to do with the character. But it was great to have a rough idea of what the I play a polar bear, and it was great to be able to see him and just to sort of know what ballpark to throw your voice into,
And the day we recorded the voices, we were all in the room together in a big circle, and they had cameras filming us the whole time so that it could see what our so that the illustrators could see what our mannerisms were and how we were moving and talking. So it was, and of course it's funny because we are being bigger than usual. We're in front of a microphone acting like we're falling or something's hitting us. So it was, it's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, I also have to give credit to Curious Pictures. Ro Rao, who's our lead animator producer of this episode, they took on a kind of a Herculean task because when we decided that we wanted, and this is something that we've wanted to do an animated episode for a very long time. It's one of those that was on my list of I have to do this before this show ends, and the timeline though and the budget, it's hard to be able to justify the expense and how you're going to do it. So you try to limit the number of days of actual shooting live actors so you can save all that money and put it into the animation. But when we decided that we didn't want to just do one style, because, you know, for me, I grew up with, you know, Charlie Brown, the Peanuts Christmas, and you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and the Rankin and Bass, and all those things. To choose one style, it felt like, you know, over the course of an hour-long episode would not be very satisfying. I wanted all the styles, and Matt Gore, actually our visual effects producer, was the one who really said, you know, why don't you just do them all? So I was like, could we do that? Actually, and so it led itself, I think, to this, our story, and but we produced 4 different animation styles where you have to have character approvals, designs, all those things done, and shoot them. You know, Looney Tunes inspired style, you know, Rankin and Bass, you know, anime and full CGI. That
you have claymation, right?
And the claymation is the Rankin and Bass, and you know, to do that in 6 months when it takes The Simpsons, you know, 9 months to do 1 half-hour episode of their show, it's a pretty amazing thing.
Wow. So have we got time for a couple more questions? So if you'd like to ask questions, stick your hand up now. What was the hardest scene for each of you that was done on the series?
The last scene?
The hardest.
Oh.
The hardest scene.
Oh, well, my hardest scene is one I can't really talk about. But can I say that? It has something to do with water?
Which?
The water? Can I say it has something to do with water?
Yeah, sure.
I have an episode that's yet to come that is in water. And for me, that was, you know, whenever you're shooting things in water, it's just, and you know that you're going to have to be submerged.
It's the shrinkage.
The shrinkage is terrible.
It just scares, you know, it was a little frightening for me.
See, my hardest scenes were any ones that I was naked in.
And then he was in the water naked. No.
Shrinkage.
So for me, it's you know, it's one like that that's coming up. He's so silly. This is why we're always happy when Matt comes. I mean, oh my God. Go ahead.
What about you, Matt? What has been your hardest scene?
Let's see. You know, I always there were a couple of scenes early on in the series where you're having to do medical techno speak, as well as juggling props, as well as trying to deal with a live wolf. I thought that was fairly difficult. And plus a time constraint with Robert Petrovich, our producer, kind of looking at his watch, and so you're sort of seeing that out of one eye too. But it was, those ones are usually pretty difficult. Anything where you have to multitask, you know, or if there's more than 2 people in the scene, that's always difficult too.
More than 2 people.
Oh yeah, because you're always waiting for your line, you know. And it's like
I can only be in a movie with 2
That's
people.
right. That's right. What I try to do as an actor is just imagine that no one else is in the scene. I find that.
And what about you, Jamie? What was the hardest scene for you to write?
Oh yeah, my cameo on the ISS was really hard. It was definitely a challenge to do this. And scene.
And finally then, I mean, as we said, Eureka's ending now, but with the world of like technology and comic books and everything now becoming more and more accessible, do you think Eureka will ever truly die, or will we see, for example, the adventures continue in a Eureka comic book, or maybe even a Eureka video game?
I think that there are a number of possibilities.
They like that.
I don't have any definitive plans for a film or, you know.
You're very cagey
yes,
about this.
Say it.
You know,
Are we in
I
it?
think part of it, you know, we'll see what happens with Eureka. I do have, you know, other projects that are in the works, and these guys need they need to work. So. We'll be announcing probably in the next week or 2. Just sold another show.
We're in
with a young writer to the Syfy channel this last week. That hopefully that will all work out, and you'll be able to hear about that one. So we've got things in the works, though. So there'll be more.
But thank you very much, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, give a massive round of applause to our star of the phenomenal series Eureka,
Thank you.
Jamie Paglia, Matt Frewer, and Sally Richardson Whitfield.
Are we leaving now?
And don't forget, if you have Twitter,